Hey everyone, if you're like me, you really enjoy growing your herbs. This year, I went real crazy. Now it's my first time gardening, my first year really gardening, but I've grown microgreens and some herbs before. To any extent, I got so much basil. I mean, I literally had so much basil. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen my basil patch. And anyway, to make a long story short, I've been really focused on trying to not let it go to waste. I can't waste a thing. Maybe I need to learn how to let go of some things, but when it comes to water, when it comes to plant life, when it comes to food, money, you name it, I just can't waste anything. So with that said, I've had to give away the basil to neighbors, which they've enjoyed, but you just can't keep giving neighbors basil after basil after basil. So what I've decided to do was, if you saw a previous video, I started dehydrating some and keeping it in a jar. Doing that, it's not that it's time consuming, I just can't run through it quick enough. So anyway, I've decided to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and go over there and harvest a lot of my basil, about half. They're about 3.5 feet tall. I'm going to try to take off 1 foot or 2 feet off the tops. Some of them are going to bolting. And I'm going to show you a different method that I use to save the basil. This time I'm going to be cutting all the leaves off of the stalks. I'm going to be setting it in water until I can get to it because it takes some time. Then I'm going to blanch it, and then I'm going to strain and use a salad spinner and get as much of the water out as possible, probably most of it anyway. And then after I do that, I'm going to put it into a couple of 8-ounce or 1-pound bags. I'll figure it out as I do it. My goal is to have a couple of pounds of basil frozen in the freezer until I need it. So let's go ahead and go over to the garden and we will get started on the process. Thank you. Hey everybody, just wanted to show you what I'm up against on the basil here. So I've harvested a lot of basil. I'm just soaking them right now just to get all the bugs and stuff off them. This bucket is about a 10-gallon bin. Obviously it's half full, but it has water, so it's about 1/3 of the way, maybe it was half the way up before the water was in there, but it's a lot of basil. And then I had some propagated store-bought, like a mint basil, that I trimmed as well. And I wanted to kind of show you what I still have for basil, despite harvesting all of that basil there. So on the store-bought propagated basil, I still have, you know, quite a bit. I probably could take a lot more off that, but it was up to about here, and it was shadowing some of these dying tomatoes that I still have. But over here is the basil patch, and I needed to clear up some space so the sun could reach some of my younger tomatoes. And I mean, as you can see, let me just zoom out a little bit. We've got tons of it still a couple of feet tall, and it was getting up to almost here. So I trimmed off about 1 foot all the way across. I left a couple of the bolting ones as they are. I like to save the basil seed, but I wanted to give you an update on that. I'm going to now blanch them, which is basically boiling them down and then cooling them, and probably put them in some Ziploc bags so that I have some preserved fresh basil. Anyway, I wanted to give you an idea of how much basil I still have. So that's it, just a quick short update on the basil. I'll have more updates this weekend on my garden. Thank you. So I've blanched the basil, boiled it, put it in a cooling pot, and now I'm going to strain it out. And my plan is to put it in Ziploc bags. You can see it comes out really nice. Ziploc bags, and after it strains a little bit longer, obviously. And probably try to get about 1 pound or 2 in each Ziploc bag, and we'll see how many I got, and I'll let you guys know. Thanks. All right, guys, after all is said and done, we've got roughly 15.7 ounces. See if I can get that to take it. Or basically 1 pound. 16 ounces is a pound, obviously. So, you know what? A couple of 8-ounce bags of processed basil, and this will go in the freezer. And when I'm ready to use it, I'll thaw it out and I'll have fresh basil. Anyway, oops, I got a little basil on my arm even. Anyway, appreciate you watching the video, guys. We'll see you shortly. Thanks.